Hi everyone, welcome to another Taubmans live colour event. Look, it's great to be back. It's certainly been a while since we've been on screen, and it's certainly great to be back doing our weekly colour sessions. My name's Fiona, I'm the Taubmans colour specialist, and I'm here tonight for the next half an hour on screen to answer all of your colour questions. Certainly whether you've got questions about interior, exterior projects, or even if you'd like to know about our wonderful portfolio of products that we have available to beautify your space, you've come to the right place. So as I said, I'm on screen for the next half an hour, so use this as an opportunity to have a voice. Pop any questions that you do have into the feed as we are streaming, but please do hold off on uploading any images or pictures as I'm unable to receive them while we're broadcasting, while we're streaming. As soon as we finish, please pop all of your questions into the feed, because I usually hang back for half an hour or so and I will do my best to answer all of your questions. So tonight's session is all about frequently asked questions, and we take this opportunity to go through all of our social media platforms and look at questions that are reoccurring and sort of looking at themes. So I've taken quite a few questions and I'm going to bring them to life tonight for you with answers, etc. Certainly about products, certainly about colour, how to utilise colour within your space. So tonight's going to be lots of fun. You'll have to excuse me, I feel a little bit rusty because I haven't been in front of the camera for a little while. But anyhow, so the first question I have is, how do I get rid of mould on my bathroom and bedroom walls? Now, for those that have been experiencing the rather unseasonal weather that we've had, I know that Queensland has had high humidity, but an awful lot of rain, which has created a lot of moisture in the air, which gives mould a perfect breeding ground to get going. Not only that, we've had floods. There's so much going on with the weather. So the biggest question that I'm asked when I'm out and about in store is about treating mould. So I thought I'd give you a little insight tonight on a couple of products. So as you know, mould is common in high humidity areas, and you know, a couple of the most identifiable areas that you will find mould, unfortunately, are in bathrooms and sometimes in bedrooms. And obviously bathrooms being, you know, in a damp environment, and especially if you don't get a lot of ventilation, you can be prone to mould. So it's really important that we need to remove any mould. And the best way to get rid of mould is you want to get a product that's actually going to remove the spore. Because when you're seeing mould on the surface, it is actually the mould spore flowering or blooming, if you like. And you know, it can be, there's all types of mould. You know, you've got your black mould, and then you've got mould that can appear to look almost like dust. So, you know, and that might be a sort of a powdery white, soft grey, soft blue sort of colour. So it's really important because mould likes to get into porous substrates, if you like, and the spore goes in and sort of the roots sort of go into the area, and then you get that beautiful, if you want to call it that, the flowering, the blooming, the mould. So we want to get rid of the whole lot. We don't just want to take the flower or the bloom off the surface. We want to get down to the spore, and it's really, really important to do that. So there is a product out there, and I swear by this product. I recommend this to everybody who has mould growing, who's about to embark on a renovation. So before you paint, you want to make sure that you do adequate preparation. So I'm going to take you, so that you can see what I'm talking about, I'm going to take you to another screen quickly. Let's hope this works tonight. I'll pop myself up in the corner, and you can see a product called Mould Action Pre-Paint Treatment. Now it says on here, it effectively kills mould and mildew, and it does. It is brilliant. Now I will come back on the screen. Now what it does is, my first experience with this product, so I opened the lid and I expected to be overwhelmed with fumes. So there is minimal to next to no smell at all. It's biodegradable, absolutely brilliant. And look, I'm led to believe it was designed for the Singapore market, where they have extreme high humidity. And so how it works is you can apply it by spraying it on, rolling it on with a roller. You can even brush it on with a paintbrush, or you can rag it on. You need to leave it onto the substrate for 24 hours, and then you can rinse it off, wipe it off, etc. And then the next thing, and look, to be honest, I have a bamboo bath mat in my bathroom, which is prone to mold. I use that on that and it is phenomenal with what it does. So the next thing, now that you've gotten rid of the mold, or we've attacked the mold, you want to use a really good quality paint. And you want to use a paint that has inbuilt mold inhibitors, because you want to, when you're purchasing paint, I'm just reading a question there, I'll come back to that in a moment. When you're purchasing paint and when you're going to all of the effort to paint your space, you want to ensure that, you know, you've just gotten rid of all of the mold. You want to ensure that it's not going to come back. So I'm going to take you to our website and show you a product. So again, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, I'm still on the laptop there. Oops, I'll come back. All right, we'll go back there. There was a technical glitch. I didn't put myself back on. I've left myself on the laptop. So excuse me. There we go. We are on the laptop now. You can see me there, hopefully. Actually, we seem to be having... We'll go back to camera one. Sorry. I seem to be having an issue here just at the moment. I'll put my laptop on. I'm going to the screen. Beautiful. You can see me there. Fantastic. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to take you to www.taubmans.com.au. And I want you to, when you visit the site, go to where it says products, and then you can go down to I'm going to take you to interior paints. This is a product here called Taubmans Endure. Now I'll just bring it up a little bit larger on the screen so that you can see it. It's just taking a moment. This is a fantastic product because it has all of your mold inhibitors built within the paint. It offers a lifetime guarantee. It's been endorsed by the Asthma and Allergy, or it's asthma and allergy friendly, endorsed by the Asthma Council. It is the most amazing product. And what I truly love about this is it has what they call nanogard technology. So it creates an interlocking molecular structure. So it's a really tight structure which allows you to be able to scrub the paint and not have anything. You won't have any marks, you won't have any burnishing marks, because a lot of paints, when you start to wipe them or clean them, you can end up with shiny patches, which is what we call burnishing. So using Taubmans Endure, that omits that. But as I said, we're talking about mold. This is your choice because it has all of your inbuilt mold inhibitors in it. So certainly send you that way. Okay, I'll come back on the screen now. Wonderful. All right, so the next question I have is I'm drawn to dark colours and I'm wanting to know how to use them in my space on walls. Look, to be honest, I love utilising dark colours within a space. And, you know, immediately I think when we start talking about dark colours, I sort of think of a bedroom space as being a great place to sort of use this application of colour. Also a lounge room and also a theatre room. Theatre rooms are very much on trend. And for a theatre room, I do believe that the darker, the better. You can certainly go as dark as you like. There is a Taubmans colour that I love called Mojo. But you can use things like really dark greys and even go into black. There's another beautiful colour called Taubmans Trendy, which is a beautiful, beautiful black, which is fantastic for a theatre room. You know, a feature wall is a great way of injecting colour in a space, and it's also a great way of creating a hero in a room. So when I talk about a hero in a room, it's having one item, if you like, or one focal point in the room that draws your eye. And so if you've got a beautiful mirror or something like that that you're wanting to display and you're wanting to really showcase, putting that behind a dark wall allows the mirror itself to pop, and being a dark wall, it draws your eye naturally to that. There's another way that you can successfully use dark colours within your space, and that is to create what we call a cocoon effect. And you know, you can do all four walls within that space, that colour. And if you're daring, you can also do the ceiling. Depends on how dark you want to go. And when you're painting an area, the one same colour, so you're using the same colour on your ceiling and all of your walls, what happens is it's very non-jarring and the eye tends to look up and over. It doesn't stop. Ordinarily, when you paint colour on a wall, if you like, and you have a white ceiling, where they meet or where the cornice is, or if you've got square set plaster, that's where the eye tends to be drawn. So, you know, it sort of goes to that spot, if you like, and stops there, and it gives the eye, subconsciously we do this, you know, you sort of look at the space and you can sort of size the room up, if you like, and sort of work out how big the space is. However, if it's all one colour up and over, the eye looks up and looks over, and it can create the illusion of more space. So if you're wanting that cocooning effect, you could certainly do that. Do your walls and your ceilings. For me personally, I do think that that sort of effect works better in a room that's, you know, if you've got a really big open plan space, I wouldn't suggest doing something like that. It's certainly better for rooms that are, you know, let's say a little bit more scaled down, and it works wonderfully, as I said before, in a theatre room, certainly, you know, in your lounge room, if you like, and also in a bedroom. And there are some beautiful, beautiful colour tones that you can work. And when I think about using dark colours in a bedroom, the first colour I think about is there is a beautiful Taubmans colour called Black Flame. Actually, I will get it up on the screen, and we can have a look at some colours. So we'll go back to, there we go. Awesome, looks like we're working. Okay, so again, we go to www.taubmans.com.au, and look, this website's fabulous, and it's very easy to navigate your way around it. So as I showed you before, you know, you can use the product drop down. We've got colours here, so if you select or hit paint colours, it'll bring you back to this, and you can scroll down a little bit, and you can see that the colours have been grouped or put into a family of colours, which makes it very easy to navigate your way around. And so as I was saying before, when I'm talking about tones for a bedroom, quite dark tones, I'm just going to hit the purple. And, you know, when you first go in there, it gives you the most popular colours within that hue, if you like. So I'm going to take you down and show you a beautiful, beautiful colour, which is here. It's called Taubmans Black Flame. Look, I love this colour. It's it tends to be almost a little bit like chameleon-like. It will change within its environment, and it will tend to sometimes throw more blue or look more navy, or even have that sort of purpley undertone. It is a beautiful, beautiful colour, and I know that there is still very much a trend happening where people are doing, you know, the coastal theme, or they're also doing a Hamptons vibe. And if you're wanting to create a beautiful, you know, sort of luxe space within your bedroom, Black Flame, is a fantastic colour to start with. Now, there are some other colours that I'd really like to quickly show you while we're talking colours. And I'm going to go to the greys and blacks. And I'm going to show you, as I was mentioning before, there is a beautiful, beautiful grey, deep, deep grey called Mojo. Now, when you use it, when it's on a wall, it's quite complex. It almost tends, it's a beautiful, beautiful grey. It's slightly warmer. It doesn't throw a lot of blue, but it does tend to throw almost, it has a slight sort of red undertone to it, and it is beautiful. And, you know, if you're wanting to marry that or team that with a white, there is a colour called Taubmans White House, and they sing when they're put together. They work extremely well. Now, the other colour, when we're talking about using dark colours within a space, and certainly bedroom, I'm going to show you blue. There's a couple of tones here that I really do like, and that work really, really well within a bedroom environment. As you can see here, most popular blue colours, Elegant Evening. Now, that is certainly one of the tones that I would recommend. Let me see if I can find it. Hopefully it's down the bottom here. Yep, there we go. A beautiful, beautiful rich blue that does tend to have a slight green undertone, a moody tone again. There's certainly nothing flat about this colour. And again, if you're looking for that Hamptons feel, you could certainly inject a little bit of Elegant Evening. But you know what? It would work even if you were doing an old traditional style home. And you could start to, if you wanted to, when you're talking about Elegant Evening and that sort of tone, you could introduce a warmer grey or a greyish up against it, and that would work really, really well. Now, the other colour that I think is definitely worth having a look at is Taubmans Babbling Stream. Now, I was talking about before, if you have a space where you are wanting to paint the walls and the ceiling the same colour, Babbling Stream is a colour to definitely investigate. I'd certainly have a look at this colour. It would suit sort of that environment. It is a beautiful, beautiful blue with a lot of green undertone of green grey, and it's, yeah, it happens to be one of my favourite tones or colours within the sort of blue realm of the Taubmans colour library. It's fabulous. All right, so I'm going to come back on screen. Now the next question that we have, sorry, I've already covered that. I've written myself some notes so I wouldn't get too lost. I was about to go on that, but we've already talked about how we can use colour to manipulate a space. So the next question is, I live in FNQ, so I take that as Far North Queensland, and I'm wanting to paint the exterior of my home white. He says it's a Queensland thing, or homes that surround me are white. Which white should I use, as there are way too many whites? Help. Okay, there are so many whites, and when you begin your white journey, if you like, it's very different when you're talking about whites for an interior as opposed to whites for an exterior. And whites will play within a space. When we look at an interior white, a white tends to take on its surrounds. So, you know, you may have a lot of natural light, etc., and the colour tends to perhaps it can look quite, depending on which way or your house is facing or the room is facing, you know, colours can tend to look quite blue, quite cool, almost can look a little bit dirty. And then on the other side, where you've got a lot of sun, etc., you know, they can sometimes look a little bit too warm or too cream. So there's lots of things to consider. And then if you've got wooden flooring, etc., you know, the colour of the flooring can influence the wall colour quite dramatically, as can your furnishings. If you've got, let's throw it out there, you may have a red lounge. And from that lounge, you can find that the walls may, in some instances, take on a little bit of a pink hue. So there's lots to consider when we talk about doing whites for interiors. But then when we go for whites outside, I always say, whites tend to, and I use this analogy, that they tend to, once the sun hits the colour, or your white as such, tends to bleach out, and it becomes quite diluted. So you want to use, from my experience, a white that has a little bit more substance, because the last thing you want to do is, let's just picture this, you're about to go outside, early morning, you're having your first morning cup of tea, lots of sun, and you have to walk outside with your sunglasses on because it's too glary. So you want to look for white that has substance. Now there is a science, or there is help out there. So all colours have what is called an LRV, which is the light reflectance value. Now I do have some images that I'm going to bring up on my screen here. Let's just hope that we can do this without any issues. Perfect. Okay, so light reflectance value. And you can see from the image that is displayed on screen, black being 0, white being 100. So pretty much, you know, black absorbs the light and white sort of repels the light, if you like, or reflects the light. So the higher that you go closer to 100%, you are going to get a lot of glare. So for me, when I'm working with colour and when I'm helping my clients or helping consumers in store, I tend to work around or sit around anywhere from, let's say, about 68, maybe up to around about 80 as a good number, knowing that when the colour goes outside, you're still going to see a little bit of colour, but you're going to be safe in the fact that you're not going to have a huge amount of glare. And when we're talking about Queensland, if you like, lots and lots of sun, however, maybe not so much at the moment. They've had a lot of rain, but generally a lot of sun, and they really are lovers of all varying degrees of white. So it's really important to take this into consideration. So how do you know where to find this? So I'm just going to show you. Well, you can see here quickly which white. So let's just look at that quickly. So you've got what we call a cool white, a warmer white, and then, you know, something going into more of a neutral. The neutral tends to have if you like, a green sort of grey undertone, which is fabulous for when you're working outside. When you're using it, the colour in an application outside, not working outside. Also, your creamier tones tend to work really well as well. Going into something that's quite cool, that has very much, if you like, a blue or even sort of that black, which makes it a grey, a cool grey undertone, that is going to be quite icy when it's put in full sun. So another tip when you're viewing your white, and then we'll get to the LRV here. When you're going to store and you're not sure where to start, you need to, or the best advice I can give you is to get your colour chip and put it up against brilliant white. And you can see, when you start to see this line, if you see where my mouse is there, you can see that line going down there where the colours meet. You can sort of get an understanding of the undertone of the colour. Sample pot your white. We'll get back to that in a moment. Now I have, let me just find, we skipped that, the light reflectance valley. Let's go back to that. So when you're looking at a colour, and I've used Surf Mist as a white because it is one of the most popular whites that's being used out there at the moment. All colours have an LRV. And so on the Taubmans website, and I'll show you where to find that, you can find the LRV of a colour. So I've put Surf Mist up against Brilliant White. LRV of Surf Mist, let's just round it up and say 67. And the LRV of Brilliant White, let's just say 92.5. So for me personally, I wouldn't be recommending Brilliant White as an all-over colour for the exterior of your home. Fantastic for trims because it's going to give you that nice white fresh if you're doing window trims, etc. But for the body of your exterior dwelling, too bright. It's certainly going to bleach out in the sun and you wouldn't be able to look at it without your sunglasses on. So let me just show you where. I'll just come back on screen. So let me show you where you can find this information, and then I had best answer a couple of questions there. So if we go back to, I'll take you back. If we go back to our taubmans.com.au and we hit colours and we hit paint colours, which we have already done so, and we go down to the bottom, there is a thing or there is a prompt here where it says order colour swatches. Now if we go into that, so this is our brush out centre, if you like. You can actually, here where you can see the search function, you can search for a colour. So let's go, I'm going to say crisp white. There we go, it's come up straight away. And we can select view colour details. Okay, so, and this is where you can find all of the information out about colours that you are wanting to potentially use outside. So the LRV here, it is 89. Again, a beautiful, beautiful tone, and certainly something that you could use as an accent or as trims. If you're looking to paint the exterior of your home, this may be a little bit too glary given that we're talking about far north Queensland. And the other tip that I'm going to give you is to get yourself a large piece of cardboard, at least 1 metre by 1 metre. That is the smallest size that you want to view the colour in. Brush out or roll out 3 coats of the colour onto that piece of cardboard and move it around outside different times of day in different areas, and you will see how the colour is going to perform within the environment. That is the easiest way to ensure that you're going to be satisfied with the white that you're wanting to use outside. And to be honest, if you're doing an interior and you're using white, certainly recommend sampling pot or a sample pot or sampling the white prior to ensure, again, you know, how it's going to work within the environment, taking into consideration the things that I mentioned before, talking about flooring, etc., etc. So there's a couple of tips there for you. Now, I won't answer any more of the frequently asked questions. I'll quickly hop onto the feed and see what we have here. Okay. Cal Ross, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And your question is, hi, what is the best paint for rental properties? Hard wearing, easy to wipe over, and what is the most popular whites? Thank you. Okay, so I did show before that the best paint. This is where I think, you know, from my experience in store, people that have rental properties just say, look, just give me something, you know, I've got a rental property, I just want to paint the walls, freshen it up. But, you know, do it once, do it right, and do it so that it's going to stand the test of time, because there's a lot of effort that goes into painting your rental property out. And I would direct you, Cal, towards Taubmans Endure. Taubmans Endure, as I was saying before, has your NanoGuard technology, so it's an interlocking molecular structure. So if you put it under a microscope, it has a one-size paint particle with then a smaller paint particle that fills the airspace. So it allows you to be able to wipe over the surfaces, but literally scrub the surfaces. So when they relaunched Endure, I'm just thinking back, I think it may have been 3 years ago, with a brand, you know, an updated, a new formulation, etc. They did what's called a scrub test. And so the way they do that is they have a piece of, let's say, plasterboard that's painted in Taubmans Endure, and they have a mechanical arm that has a brush, and it literally goes across the painted surface. And it was 1,000 scrubs within that scrub test before the paint started to show signs of wear. So just shows you it's such a fabulous product. You know, it has superior washability, it's ultra stain resistant, it's asthma and allergy friendly, so anybody that suffers from asthma, etc., can safely use this and paint the room out and sleep in the room that night without any issues whatsoever. So look, it's a fabulous, fabulous product. And you're talking about what is the most popular whites, I'm going to show you. It is crisp white, and it happens to be my favourite white. But we'll go on to the website, and I'll just get this up first, and then I'll quickly flick screens again. Fantastic. So again, Cal, you can go over to taubmans.com.au, where it says paint colours. I should take you back there in case you haven't been, in case you've just popped on. So colours, the drop down menu to paint colours, which will bring us back to that. And then if you scroll down, you can have a look at whites and neutrals. And the most popular whites are Stormy Shadow, Thin Ice, Crisp White, my personal favourite, Cotton Sheets, and Mystery. Look, Crisp White is a fabulous white that you could certainly use within a rental environment. It's what every white, I guess what makes every white paint colour different, if you like, are the tints that go into the white base to create the colour. And Crisp White has what we call raw umber in it. So it's a, I'm not going to describe the brown, it's a, how do I say it? It's a murky sort of browny tone, but when it's used in the whites and used within the formulations, it helps to create the most beautiful whites, and hence why Crisp White is our #1 white. Okay, I hope that helped you. If you're needing any further advice, please pop something else into the feed and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Hi Karen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Thanks for addressing the elephant in the room, mould, such a problem. So keen to try the mould action. Yeah, Karen, look, it's a fantastic product. And look, honestly, the first time I used it and opened it up when I was in store and I was talking to a consumer about it, and I was expecting to sort of be like, whew, you know, because obviously with everything that it does, I thought it's going to have a high sort of potent smell, but no smell. Fabulous, fabulous product. Okay, hi Cara, thank you very much for joining us. So hi Fiona, I have a teen daughter that wants to paint her room frog green. Could you recommend a green that has a similar tone but not so bright? The opposite walls are a medium warm grey. Let's have a look. Actually, I was in a store and we have this, and I have run out of time to go through Colorsmith tonight. We have Colorsmith where you can create your own colours. And, you know, Cara, it'd be well worth having a look at it. When I was in store, I created a frog hotel, and I actually used a green tree frog image and created a colour palette from that. And it was the most beautiful, beautiful green. But when we're talking about a frog green, let me just have a look here. We could probably, similar tone but not so bright. Oh. Wow, all right. Let's have a look at the greens. I'll take you to the greens and then all right, I've gone to our website again, looked at colours, I've touched on the green, and let's just have a look. There are some beautiful, beautiful tones. There's leapfrog there, which is certainly frog green. There's also just underneath it Bermuda grass, or we could continue scrolling down and have a look at May apple. I guess something like that could potentially work for you. It's sort of going within the green sort of tree frog realm, if you like. The other ones tend to, like the ones next to it, are probably too mint. And then you're going to something that's possibly has a little bit too much black in it to be sort of... So yeah, have a look at, as you can see there's Bermuda grass, May apple, and then you can even go down if you're wanting to go lighter to the sherbet lime, and then obviously leapfrog. That's a good start. And once I hop off screen, I'll have a look further for you and see if I can find something else and pop it into the feed. But I think that's pretty well got our evening done and dusted. It pretty well concludes tonight's, oops, better pop back on screen. It pretty well concludes tonight's live colour session. I'd like to thank you all very much for joining us this evening. And as I said, I will be on screen for the next off screen for the next half an hour, but behind the computer to answer any further colour questions that you may have. I do invite you to join us next week. We have a really special event happening, so keep looking at all your socials, etc., to see what's going to be happening. But yeah, we'll be back again next week, 8 o'clock again for our Taubmans live colour. In the meantime, everybody, stay safe, have a great week, and happy painting. Thanks. Bye.